December is the time when many people look to their end-of-year traditions, and the Russian president is no different. Holding his annual marathon press conference, Vladimir Putin spoke about the years to come and his possible future in the job.
One thing that could be changed about these terms is removing the clause about successive terms. We have 2 successive terms. Your humble servant has served 2 terms consecutively, then left his post and had the constitutional right to return to the post of president because these were not 2 successive terms. This troubles some of our political analysts and public figures. Well, maybe it could be removed.
Looking back earlier on in 2019, we saw the first meeting between Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un, Russia keen not to be shut out of the nuclear negotiations on the Korean peninsula. Also in the Far East, Russia's new gas link to China, the 3,000-kilometre-long Power of Siberia pipeline. Russia has enormous reserves of natural gas, and China an energy appetite to match. Another event Vladimir Putin proud to be hosting, the Russia-Africa Summit in October. More than 40 African leaders travelling to the Black Sea resort of Sochi as Russia tries to play catch-up to China on the continent, looking to revive Soviet-era ties to many African nations. The South African president telling SABC that the relationship is based on mutual respect, not mutual suspicion.
So the past contributions that were made by Russia are not used as leverage for the current investment or economic processes. It's not almost like you owe us, so therefore you must, do the following. It is based on really good measure of respect for one another, and that's what I think many of us appreciated.
It was all smiles at the Africa Summit, but not so for Russian sportsmen and women. The World Anti-Doping Agency banning Russia from global sport for 4 years for manipulation of doping data and non-compliance with rules. And it was politics that stirred thousands of protesters in July and August. On almost every Saturday throughout the summer, demonstrations against the barring of opposition candidates from local elections, confrontations with law enforcement, as some rallies turned violent. The summer also saw the collapse of the INF nuclear treaty between Russia and the United States, and one analyst thinks much of the world, including Russia, will be looking to see what happens in Washington next year.
Well, unfortunately, we have to watch first of all for the American elections. So there are superpowers that influence most of the world, and everybody would have to take into account what happens there, at least waiting for good or waiting for bad.
The issue of Ukraine also loomed large, as the war in the east of the country between government forces and Russia-backed rebels continued for a 5th year. Vladimir Putin meeting his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky for the first time at talks in Paris to try to secure a peace deal. There's definitely been some turbulence this year for Vladimir Putin, and next year probably won't be much calmer. Now that's certainly true when it comes to sport. The Russian president will have the chance to be centre stage at some of the Euro 2020 football matches in St. Petersburg, but Russia faces being shut out of the Tokyo Olympic Games. Ross Cullen, SABC News, Moscow.